This is Dr. Nora عيسى. In today's lecture, I'm going to explain the methods of public contracting. This will start from page 15 to page 37 and from page 49 to page 52 in my book. First of all, we need to know that the administrative entities are not free to enter into contracts except by the methods prescribed by the law. For that, a new law, number 182 for the year 2018, was promulgated in order to govern these contracting methods. By virtue of this law, the old law number 89 for the year 1998 was repealed. The new law governs all types of contracts entered by the public administrative bodies, regardless of their nature. This means that its scope of application includes both the administrative contracts as well as the civil contracts. However, there are some subjects which are excluded from its scope of application, such as the PPP law, number 67 for the year 2010, also the law number 5 for the year 2015 related to the preferring the Egyptian products in public procurement, and the investment law. The new law divides the public procurement methods into two main methods, which are the basic methods and the exceptional methods, and we are going to discuss each one of them in details. But first, I'm going to shed the light on some technicalities which were introduced by the new law, such as the letter of intent. This means in Arabic, طلب إبداء الاهتمام. By this letter, the contractors can express their interest to enter into future deals with the government. However, here there is an important point. The letter of intent doesn't give any right to the responding contractors in any further or future transaction to be a party. Also, the new law introduced the point-based evaluation system, which means in Arabic نظام التقييم بالنقاط. By this system, the evaluating techniques for the technical and financial criteria are converted into estimated numbers in order to facilitate the evaluation system for the new types of contracts. This new technique is consistent with the technical development in the operation of the public utilities worldwide. And before we are going to start to talk about the basic methods of public procurement, we need to know that it is prohibited by virtue of Article 7 of the law to convert any of the selected methods by the contracting authority into another one. This is to prevent the abuse and corruption by the administrative entities. So, what are the basic methods of public procurement? They are the methods used in the normal circumstances. First, we are going to talk about cases of contracting for the purpose of purchasing and the like. بمعنى الشراء وما يماثله. The law provided for the tender as the only contracting method for all public procurement in the normal circumstances. So only tender can be used in the normal circumstances in the cases of purchasing and the like. The public tender can be defined as public procurement through sealed envelopes to secure purchasing and the like of goods, services, and public work for an administrative entity. Here we need to highlight that after bid opening, it is not permitted by any means to convert the public tender into another method in order to prevent any probability of corruption, as I said previously. Second is the cases of contracting for the purpose of selling and the like. في حالات الشراء. أقصد حالات البيع من جانب الإدارة. Here the same article number 7 provided that the administrative authority can conclude its contracts for the purpose of selling and renting of public movables and real estates through either public auction or closed envelope auction. المزايدة والمزايدة بالمظاريف المغلقة. These two methods can be defined as follows. The public auction means that it's a method or a mean of public contracting to secure selling and the like of public movables, real estates, or public projects that don't enjoy juristic personality for an administrative entity. And the closed envelope auction is the same thing. However, the bids should be introduced in closed envelopes. After finishing the basic methods, now we will move to the exceptional methods of public procurement. The exceptional methods are methods used in exceptional circumstances. Here also, these methods are divided into methods used in cases of public procurement for purpose of purchasing and the like, and another used for cases of selling and the like. We will start by the first type, which is the cases of purchasing and the like. Here's a new law, defined number of cases or number of methods used in the exceptional circumstances, which are public negotiation, limited negotiation, limited tender, two levels tender or two-level tender, local tender, and direct agreement. The law provides the cases and the conditions that apply on each of these methods. We will start by the public negotiation, which means in Arabic al-mumarasa al-amma. What does it mean? This process of public negotiation is held between the administrative authority and the bidders, whose bids are technically accepted. What does this mean? It means that there are some bidders who have already submitted their bids, and after the administrative authority examines their bids, some of them are accepted only technically. So, the bids which are technically accepted are going to make negotiations with the administrative authority face to face in order to choose the best contracting conditions as well as the most favorable financial offer for the administrative authority for sure. In order to use this method, we have three conditions. The first one is the administrative authority should be able to set a defined and precise description for the subject of the contract. So the subject of the contract should be clear and can be defined precisely. Second condition, the subject of the contract should have quantifiable criteria on which the technical bids are evaluated. So we need criteria that could be able to be a base for the evaluation of the technical bids, which means that it can be converted into numbers or into any set of measurement tools to be used in the evaluation process. Third condition, to be known for the administrative authority the existence of a sufficient number of suppliers. That means that we need to know that there are some companies which provide the service or the product in order to guarantee the existence of the competition. So if there is only one producer for the product or for the service, we cannot use this method. We will shift to the direct agreement. Second method is the limited negotiation, which means in Arabic al-mumarasa al-mahduda. This method is the same as the previous one, as the public negotiation. However, it is only limited to certain cases. The first case is the items that are manufactured or imported or produced by certain persons or institutions, which means that if there are some items only produced by certain manufacturers or certain persons, so we cannot use the public negotiation. We are going to use the limited negotiation, and it will be limited to the persons who manufacture this product, as the other process will be useless for us. Second case is a procurement that have national security considerations. Third one, items or works or services that should conform with what already exists. That means what? It means that if, for example, we have a public building that have some accessories or some decorations that was manufactured by some producers, but it is not produced anymore in the market, and we know that it is available only in 2 or 3 places. So we are going to limit the negotiation with these 2 or 3 places. But here also I need to highlight that there should be more than one source, or we are going to shift to the direct agreement. Third method, the limited tender. This is the same thing. It is the same as the public tender, however, it is limited to certain cases. These cases are, first, processes that their nature requires to limit the participation in their contracting process to certain suppliers. The same thing. Second, process in which the administrative authority has held a pre-qualification procedure for certain suppliers or contractors. We have explained previously what is meant by pre-qualification. It is a process in which the suppliers who intend to enter into the process of contracting with the administrative entity are going to be submitted to a committee of pre-qualification in order to ensure the availability of the technical and financial conditions needed by the administrative authority in the future contractor. Third case, public contracting linked with national security considerations. Fourth, providing medical preparations and devices as well as medicine, so the things that are related to the medical issues. Fifth, if the time and the cost required to contract through public tender are not adequate for the value of the contract. This means that if the contract is a low-cost contract and the procedures of the tender will be considered a waste of money, so it will be preferable to use the limited tender. Last case is if no bidder participated in the public tender which is held once or more than one time. The presumption here is that a public tender was already held, then no bidder has participated or submitted his bid. In this case, we can change the contracting method into limited tender. Next method is the two-level tender, which means in Arabic المناقصة ذات المرحلتين. This method aims to permit the administrative authority to define precisely the technical and contractual aspects needed for the contracting process by means of having two levels in the tender. This method is designed to fit the modern types of contracts and the complex one, such as the boot contract and the PPP contract that was previously explained in the previous lectures. According to this method, a pre-qualification process is done and the bidders are invited to submit their primarily technical bids as a first step. And they should present their comments on the suggested contractual conditions. Then they will enter into negotiations with the administrative authority on the technical conditions. After notifying the results of the first level to the bidders, the administrative authority should invite the accepted bidders only to submit their final technical and financial bids. What is meant by final? That means that they cannot change their bids after submission in the second level. Next method is the local tendering, which means المناقصة المحلية. This method is related to local suppliers or local contractors who carry out their business in the city in which the contract should be executed. By virtue of the law, the local tendering is confined to procurements or to contracts whose value doesn't exceed the amount of 4 million Egyptian pounds. Also, in order to encourage the small and medium enterprises or companies and the very small enterprise which are located in the governorate in which the contract should be executed, the law has prescribed or provided that the administrative authority can confine the local tendering for the procurement whose value doesn't exceed 2 million Egyptian pounds for these kind of companies, in order to enhance the policy of encouraging these small and medium companies. The law also provided that these projects must be given a percentage of 20% of the annual contracting of the administrative authority. The last method in this category is the direct agreement أو الاتفاق المباشر. Although the direct agreement was not very well established or was confined only to limited cases of urgency, the new law has expanded on these cases and has provided a detailed and a well-defined framework for the application of the direct agreement method. What is meant by the direct agreement? It means that a contracting method through which the administrative entity can enter into contractual transactions directly with the other contracting party without following the traditional contracting methods prescribed by the law. This means that the administrative entity can enter directly with an agreement and negotiations with certain company without the need to follow certain steps like the other methods. On the other hand, we are going to move to the exceptional methods used in cases of contracting for the purpose of selling and the like. In this category, we have only 3 methods: the limited auction, the local auction, and the direct agreement. And now I'm going to explain each one of them. First, the limited auction, which is المزايدة المحدودة. According to the Article 68, there are some cases where the limited auction can be used, which are, first, items that could be rotten in case of storage for long. For example, the fresh food that cannot last for a long time and should be sold as soon as possible. Second case, items that their nature requires to be sold only to those who have license to deal with these items. The presumption here is that we have some places who has a license to deal with some things like the spy cameras or the guns. In this case, if we need to sell something, so we need to find the people who have license to deal with these items. Third case, urgent cases that do not bear the long procedures of auctions. Fourth, cases that were subject to public or closed envelope auction more than one time, and there were no bids submitted, or even the basic price were not reached. So here we have 2 conditions or 2 presumptions. The first one is that we already submitted the product to public or closed envelope auction and no bids were submitted, or the bids were submitted but they didn't reach the price announced by the administrative authority. Second method is the local auction or المزايدة المحلية, which means that the auction is held only to the local bidders carrying out their business or activity in the governed rate in which the contract should be executed. Method applies only for the contracting process where the basic value doesn't exceed 600,000 Egyptian pounds. Last case or last method is the direct agreement. Here, as a general rule, in case of emergency or in urgent cases that cannot bear auction procedures, the competent authority, according to the Article 71, can authorize direct agreement in cases of selling or leasing movables or immovables. So what is meant by the competent authority? Are either the head of the administration or whoever possesses his powers in cases or contracts whose value exceeds 500,000 pounds, or the minister and whoever possesses his powers in case where the contract doesn't exceed 1 million Egyptian pounds. Yet, in some exceptional cases, and after the approval of the competent minister, if the transaction has been subjected to auction or closed envelope auction for more than one time and no offers or no bids were submitted or received, or in which the offers didn't reach the basic price as I explained before, the direct agreement can be authorized for only immovables that doesn't or don't exceed 2 million pounds and movables or projects that don't exceed 1 million pounds. In this case, no powers can be delegated. At the end, I need to highlight that any info or any cases that were not explained in details in this lecture are only for reading, and you can prepare for the next lecture, the government contracting procedures. Good luck.